Greetings from downtown Cleveland, Ohio. Today is Thursday, October 6, 2022. It is close to 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time here in downtown Cleveland. Again, starting near Cleveland State University. I'm going to be doing a walk toward the center part of downtown Cleveland, and we'll see where that goes. Right over there, between East, I want to say 21st and 24th, CSU now on a daily basis has a food truck called the Long Ship. This is where they've mainly been parking it, outside the science building. I think when I go by in the past, they have like 3 or 4 menu items listed there. So if you want to check that out, whether you're a student or just visiting downtown or working downtown, feel free to do that. I think initially the plan was to rotate that food truck around campus to various parts. But so far I've seen it pretty stationary there. If any of you have watched my previous videos around the Cleveland State area, you'll know that I've talked about how CSU is supposed to be offering several new dining options, and they were advertised for being unveiled during the fall 2022 semester, but we're already in October and none of them have launched yet, so I don't know if they're gonna meet that target deadline or not. The closest one that's sort of launched is Starbucks, which is supposed to be in the very front of the student center over here, but they haven't actually moved into their permanent space. They just have like a mobile kiosk a little bit further in to the student center area. But today is a beautiful 68-degree day, and temperature may be creeping up to 71. So you have to wonder if this could be the warmest day of the fall season, because we're supposed to dip back down into the 50s starting tomorrow, which is when the Cleveland Guardians will be playing their first playoff game of the year. It's like they're hanging some signage over there. Something sweet is coming to campus. More advertisements for Viking Outfitters. Oh, interesting. It looks like they might be moving the entrance to Viking Outfitters to the left side over here instead of over there on the right. The campus store will be undergoing renovations, and then they have a bigger banner there for Chick-fil-A, which I don't remember seeing that particular banner, but maybe it's been up. But yeah, tomorrow the Cleveland Guardians will play their first playoff game of the year, and it starts at noon, and I plan on doing a live stream. I'm thinking of going live around 11 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. tomorrow, focusing on the traffic pregame to the Guardians starting in that whole area. Even though we're in the fall season, still a lot of green around, although you can see a lot of these trees are starting to change their colors to like a lighter green, maybe a orange tint of some kind. Just before I started this live stream, I was on Twitter and I saw a note from, I believe, either a current member or a former member of the CSU American Planning Association. They had worked alongside the CSU master plan process as a student group to propose some renovations to this area here to help liven it up and make it more engaging. Let me see if I can pull that picture This was like a mock-up that they had put together, or one of their mock-ups, where it would liven up the space, you know, create more seating areas and other things of that nature. And I think they said that maybe the CSU food truck was potentially going to be a part of that inclusion. I think it would also perhaps include all this green space over here. So we will see if any elements or components of that make it into the actual CSU master plan in the future. I am a little surprised that so many trees here are as yellow as they are. In my head, I thought everything was still green. It's almost like you blink and one day the leaves all change colors. While I'm on this live stream, I want to give a shout out to one of my friends who still plays recreation basketball. I say usually plays 3 times a week, and he definitely keeps up with everyone. Let me bring his picture up. So this was from yesterday. I took this picture because me and him play together regularly. But the guy in the middle is named Wayne, and he turned 70 years old yesterday. And he's been so fortunate with his health, because even at the age of 70, he runs up and down the court. You know, a lot of people may think, oh, some guy who's that old, you know, people will take it easy on him. But, like, you don't have to take it easy on him, because if you do, he'll shoot a 3-ball right in your face. So he's been blessed with very good health, and hopefully that can continue for him. But every year it's a great celebration, because, you know, you don't see people that age, A, in that shape, and B, able to run up and down the court with all the other youngsters. So as far as my plan for this walk, I was thinking of going down Euclid Avenue, checking out the latest progress on the City Club apartments, maybe making my way down past Public Square to the site of the Sherwin-Williams headquarters, because they've actually started building upward, which is pretty exciting to see the initial structure going vertical instead of just them digging the foundation into the ground for months and months. Let's see what the latest performances are here. Looks like you've got Cats coming up November 1st to the 20th at the Connor Palace. And you know what? I forgot to take a screenshot to show on the stream. Well, also there's Les Miserables, October 7th to the 30th. But I saw an article about 2 days ago, I think it was in the Plain Dealer, how they either want to, or maybe they received some form of funding already to redo the facades and LED boards for like either 1, 2, or maybe all 3 or more of these theaters that are here in Playhouse Square, to help brighten it up even more, make them more modern on the screens. I'm not sure when that will go into effect, but that's something else to be aware of for downtown Cleveland developments. Someone also gave me flack, even though I disagreed with them because I think I mentioned it at least in one stream before. But someone looked at one or two of my old downtown Cleveland videos when I was passing by the Marble Room. When I was passing by the Marble Room in downtown Cleveland, which is near East 6th and Euclid, and they were like chastising me for not mentioning the Marble Room, and they were making some type of insinuation, like maybe it was because I was a certain class, and I was like thinking to myself, what? It's like, you know, I try to mention a lot of things, but sometimes I don't like to repeat myself, but I will try to point out the Marble Room when I go by it. You can already see that blue crane in the background for the City Club apartments. That'll be a regular fixture for the next however many months or year until they finish those apartments, just like the ones that'll be past Public Square. I feel like this is, I don't know, I always kind of like walking by this. It gives me like a subtle vibe as if I'm in New York for a second when I see the fencing and the trees and the building. As we're approaching East 12th Street and Euclid. If anyone's ever seeking a dentist, across the way there, right in that building, there's a place called Downtown Dental. Or maybe Downtown Cleveland Dental, I forget the exact name. Yeah, it just says Downtown Dental Services. But that's where I go to the dentist, because since I work in downtown Cleveland, I like the location convenience. I just pop on over, get whatever work done, and then I'm finished. This is the 5 Iron Golf building that I previously mentioned. Or not the building, but the spaces that are going to be under construction, taking up several storefronts. If you want to know why I was pointing the camera right at the building there for a second, not that they minded, because, you know, I'm on my lunch break, but my one of my supervisors or bosses was actually walking toward me, so I thought it would be kind of awkward. You know, we waved to each other, but I thought it would be kind of awkward if I just like put them on camera. See, you got the big crane is actually in action right now. Yeah, but Like I said, if you end up watching this video before Friday's game, be sure to tune back in because we'll probably see a lot more people downtown for tomorrow's live stream prior to the start of the Guardians game. If there ends up being a game 3, I believe that's on Sunday. I think. I didn't check for sure to make sure it was Sunday or if it was Monday, but if it is Sunday, that would be a 4 o'clock start time. And the Browns game is at 1 o'clock that day, where the Browns are back in town to face the Los Angeles Chargers. So yes, you can see the liftoff for the City Club apartments, because the last time we did a video, they had finished like the very bottom part where you knew they were getting ready to build upward, but now you see the cement beams. Sorry, I don't know the correct construction terminology, but the beams that I presume will support the lower levels of the building. I've never been inside the Holiday Inn Express lobby up here. At least I don't recall that I have. But once before I read that there's a really cool, well, I don't want to say cool, but really good diner for breakfast. I forget the exact name of it. I feel like it's... Actually, there's a sign out here that says diner, so maybe that's the promotion for it. What does it say? Mike... I think it's Mike and Dee's Diner. Carry out, delivery available, or corporate catering. So yeah, that's tucked away in the Holiday Inn Express atrium. So if you're looking for a breakfast option to try, maybe check that out. And here is the marble room, the one that I was criticized for not showing off, but the marble room is right here. Let me see. Give more of a wider perspective. So I've never eaten at the marble room itself, but I've seen plenty of pictures inside, and my mental projection is that it's probably the most expensive restaurant, like very high class. That's always been my impression based on the tweets I've seen of it, and it's inside of the old National City Bank building. Let me go back to normal. Founded in 1845, so if you ever see the inside of it, it's very detailed and prestigious looking with the architecture. I don't know if they have a menu here. Maybe that's what this is. Marble room. So let's see. Maybe the prices aren't as bad as I thought, but let's see. Well, I don't get sushi, so I don't know what the price of sushi is, or I don't really do fish. I mean, steaks, pretty pricey, right? I'd be going after the side. So if I went here, I'd be ordering like mac and cheese or pommes frites. So Edwin Madrigal says, what's your opinion of how downtown has changed over the past 1 to 3 years? And you also asked, can you show the progress on the City Club apartments? Well, if you just tuned in right now, I just passed up the City Club apartments for probably about like 3 or 4 minutes ago. So maybe rewind the feed because I was showing the progress on the construction of that. But as far as how downtown has changed over the past 1 to 3 years, the tough part of answering that is I felt like pre-pandemic, which was, you know, just before 2020, I felt like there was a lot of progress in downtown Cleveland. And then the pandemic happened, the riots happened, so you kind of had this like 2-year lull. I mean, there were still things ongoing and they were trying to build for the future, but I think everywhere kind of had this lull. So now I would say over the past year, I feel like we've seen the jump start in a lot of these big construction projects like the City Club apartments kicking off, the Sherwin-Williams kicking off. And I think more people are gradually coming back to not only downtown Cleveland, but just all cities in general. I know downtown Cleveland has done a really good job this past summer, the Downtown Cleveland Alliance, trying to put together a lot of like small musical events, maybe that happen during the summer on Wednesdays, other small events. Some aren't as, you know, popular as the others, but I like the fact that they're trying, and it, you know, creates a pretty lively environment. So I would say downtown Cleveland, I feel like, has done pretty good, and it definitely helps that the sports teams, like the Guardians, ready to make their playoff push. The Browns, love them or hate them, the Browns are always going to draw traffic, and then the Cavaliers could be a contending team, so I think that always builds up some more enthusiasm to come downtown. And look at all the events we've had. Like last year or 2 years ago, we had the NFL draft. That was like the first big event that's happened, or that happened, I don't want to say after the pandemic was over, because the pandemic was kind of still going on, but it was like the first big event since the pandemic had started, and it was a pretty good success. Then we had the NBA All-Star Game, also another success. You know, Cleveland seems to be fortunate. I don't want to say fortunate, because I'm sure whoever's in charge of putting the proposals together are doing a heck of a job selling the city. But yeah, it's just great that Cleveland has been able to have this influx of popular events. Let me catch up on some of the comments here. Oh, Edwin also said that you were looking at the dinner menu yesterday. It looked pricey. I want to eat there sometime. Yeah. I wonder if one time maybe, when I used to get my taste of expensive restaurants, so to speak, like for example, I feel like 7 or 8 years ago, what's that place in Lakewood right on the river called? Or right on the lake called? The name's escaping me now, but it's like that place in Lakewood that's right up against the Lake Erie. I went there for a work Christmas party one year. So I feel like if I ever go to Marble Room, it'll have to be like via a Christmas party that takes me there. Alright, let's see the other comments that I missed here. Where Snowbands Persist said, woo, finally made it to a live stream. And you said, according to WEWS, that's Cleveland's Channel 5 news station, Cleveland is lagging slightly behind on people returning downtown, but they're still on track. Yeah, it's hard to say when you have like national studies like that, and not sure what exact data sets people are using. I do know there was some type of study that some university released about a month or two ago, and Cleveland people jumped all over it because the report said that Cleveland was one of the worst places in the country for people returning to downtown Cleveland for working purposes. And when you looked at the data set that they used, they were including like a zip code that was past downtown Cleveland, like more toward, I think, Asiatown area. So it was like outside of downtown Cleveland, and it excluded like the whole area of, I don't know if it was this area or the one closer to Progressive Field, but it excluded like half of downtown Cleveland, it seemed like, from the data. So then we were like, well, what the heck? How can you do a report on return to work in downtown Cleveland when the numbers were like that? However, the report you're talking about with WWS, that, you know, could very well be a different report, because I know there's a lot of them out there. So yeah, it's hard to say. All I know is it's my main barometer of judging whether people are back to work. Because I don't drive, I always take the bus in, so I always judge it based on like when I take the rapid transit train, and I definitely know the trains are far less utilized than they were pre-pandemic. So yes, I would say, of course, we're nowhere near like 100% of where it was pre-pandemic, but I don't think we'll ever get back to that point either, or like in a new norm of sorts. Where snow bans persist also says we need a fall foliage walk somewhere. Yeah, I did a video last month, or no, was it like 3 weeks ago, where I rode through Rocky River Reservation, but that was still during the summertime. I'm still delaying on my ride because I want to do a bike ride through there when all the leaves are like right in their prime of vivid orange, red, yellow, brown. And I just want to like ride through and maybe not even do it much commentary, just ride through and enjoy the long views of it. Connor McCollum says, I just saw you walking back from lunch. Oh, nice. Yeah, I don't think if that's the case and you really did see me filming with this gimbal that I'm holding, I think you would be the very first person who was watching and saw me in person live. Last year in October, Public Square did a setup where they put a bunch of pumpkins and like haystacks, I think, on that side, both sides of the square. I haven't seen anything go up as far as Halloween or Thanksgiving decorations yet this year, but there's still some time for that. Let me try to see a few more of the comments if I missed any. Just more talking about the newspaper. I think Edwin was adding about the report saying it excluded all of Public Square of the Flats. Yeah, that was the one I was referencing. And then where snow bans persist also said Cleveland public transit is underutilized, to be honest. Yeah, something I've repeated several times before is that before I traveled elsewhere, I always thought to myself, like, oh, Cleveland transit must be like one of the best in the country, because I think there were signs and banners that said that Cleveland had like the #1 transit system in the country. So my naive self bought into that. And then I actually started traveling to Vegas, Orlando, Denver, Salt Lake, New York. Where else have I been? San Diego. And not necessarily in all the places, but I started to see, well, geez, all these cities at a bare minimum have just as good of a system as Cleveland does, and then several of them have better ones. I think one of the things I think about is, even though we have the red line, green line, blue line for Cleveland, like I feel like we're missing a big area, like headed out toward Parma or other potential areas that could have been covered, but that would be a huge undertaking to build that type of system. The reason I'm stopping over here is at 55, let me make sure I get the name right. Did I write that down? Oh, so over there is called the Residences at 55, and I believe they've been doing quite a bit of construction on the front of that as well. But inside of there, they just worked on a brand new mural that they finished. I don't want to pop in because I don't know how strong the connection would be, but that mural was built somewhere close to the lobby, so if you're ever in downtown Cleveland or looking for like picture opportunities, someone put up a cool mural right near the entrance, so feel free to check that out. You can see like Terminal Tower when it's lit up, the Ohio flag, the 55. Of course they included the Residences 55 building, the Guardian, Transit, and more, so feel free to check that out. Okay, let's try to cut across here. So Edwin says, I'm curious to see the Sherwin-Williams construction progress, if you don't mind. Yes, definitely. That's what we're headed toward now. So you can see over here, they've officially torn down, or I don't want to say torn down, but like scraped up and closed off this area here, because initially the construction was all on that side, and we knew there were plans for this side for the rest of Sherwin, but they still were utilizing this as a parking lot. But now it is all blocked off. You see the construction signs, hard hat areas, no more parking lot. And then once we get closer to the other side, we will show the construction progress on the main Sherwin-Williams building. Yes, I'm glad to see the parking lot will be gone too. That's another thing where I used to not think anything of it when I was a young kid or whatever. I was like, oh yeah, parking lots seem normal to me. And then something that struck me when I was in New York City in 2019 for a week, as I was like, wow, there are literally no parking lots anywhere, and it just was mind-blowing. Even like when you went to a grocery store like Target, there's no parking lots. And then you start thinking to yourself more when you come back to Cleveland, and you're like, oh, these big parking lots right next to Public Square, like couldn't it be utilized in a much different way? So at West 3rd, here is your snapshot of the construction. I'm trying to think to myself, because like this is the elevated part that I've seen so far, but I have to imagine the building is not going to be just that small, rectangular base there. Sorry, I know the camera's out of focus. I have to imagine it's going to extend further going west and the other direction. I don't know if I get really up close if the camera will see through it or if it'll be blurry. Sometimes if I tap the screen it'll focus. That's probably the elevator bank where snow bands persist says. Yeah, maybe. And that could be the same thing with the City Club apartments that I showed earlier. That they're just starting with where the elevator bank will be. But there's the big crane for the Sherwin building. Oh, now I remember what I did last time. I think you can actually get a see-through visual down here. So yes, yesterday morning when I was entering downtown Cleveland on the bus, sometimes I have my eyes closed, even at this point still, because I just kind of naturally know when to wake up at the East 3rd bus stop. But I glanced over yesterday morning to my left and I was like, oh, wait a minute, they actually have built upward already. So that's what kind of gave me the idea of showcasing that in today's walk. Plus another thing too, anytime I get close to like the 10-day mark of not having put any new content on the Poco Traveler channel or not having explored anything, inside I start getting like a little agitated at myself, like, come on, you got to do something and get some new stuff up. Edwin says, seems like it's making good progress. I'm impatient. I want it to be added to the skyline already. Right, I understand. Where snowbands persist says, public transit must be safe if you can sleep on the bus. Yeah, I've been... sorry, not to cut off that answer, but they are actually putting up, see, Sherwin-Williams signage here, and as well as the mock-up of the building. So this is the tower that we just saw, or part of it. And then they'll have a walkway over the street that goes to the other side, which will not be a skyscraper on that side. But what question was I answering before that? Let me think. Oh, about sleeping on the bus. I've taken the RTA bus almost every day since 2007. So, what, that 15 years? Granted, there's some every so often in a blue moon, you'll hear or see someone who sounds like they have mental health concerns, or maybe like a really loud group of obnoxious school kids. But mostly I just get to relax and rest my eyes, especially now. I catch the bus around 6:30 a.m. in the morning, the 22 bus, and it's those double buses where it bends in the middle, so it's an extra big bus. And at that time in the morning, you're lucky if 20% of the bus is filled. So you have plenty of room. Like, there's never anyone sitting next to me at that time of day. So you just get to relax and, yeah. I always like to give a plug to my Twitter and Instagram accounts if you're not following them. Even if I'm not posting videos, I also post some pictures of places that I've been on my Twitter and Instagram accounts. And so far, I still do not have 1,000 subscribers, so I cannot do community post on YouTube yet. But I believe once I hit 1,000 subscribers, I'll be able to post updates. Like, say for example, I could do a post. I could have done a post maybe yesterday on YouTube saying, like, oh, I plan on going live on this day. Feel free to tune in if you're interested. So that way it would give you guys a little more advance notice. I previously covered the Superior Hill Park mural. I think I covered that in 2 different videos. One that was dedicated specifically to the mural, and the other one was in my Flats East Bank video, which the Flats East Bank is that way. And I'm not going to go all the way to the Flats East Bank today. That would be a bit of a retread. Believe me, I'm looking both ways before I'm crossing the street diagonally like this. But instead, today I'm going to try to go west, meaning that way, for a change of pace. And we'll see if the connection looks good, because the Canal Basin Park had a launch or kickoff about 3 or 4 weeks ago, dedicating the northernmost part of the towpath trail, which is, I believe, like over 100 miles now. I'm determined to ride that one day too. Don't know if it'll be this year, but I am determined to ride that. So this is Settlers Landing. The Canal Basin Park should be over to the left side, past the RTA station that's not in use right now. So I gotta figure out exactly where I should be for the start of this thing, because this is still Settlers Landing here, and I covered this part last month. I went up to that stuff, and then I turned back around and went to the Flats East Bank. Something I didn't see last month though was I didn't know there was a downtown dog park right here. It says a project of Downtown Cleveland Alliance. That's interesting. Never knew there was a dog park here. I wonder how new that is. All the signs almost give me the vibe that this is like a newer area. And I swear I don't remember this when I came by like 2 months ago. But anyway, let's try to figure out where Canal Basin Park is. Geocache guy says, do you plan on doing any international travel at some point? Nothing planned right now. I had gotten my passport like a month before COVID hit. In February 2020 is when I got my passport, because I wanted to have it handy just in case I decided to ever make a either impulsive or planned trip. I didn't want to have to worry about waiting for a passport. But so far I have not made any international plans. I think it would be fascinating. One of the people I follow on YouTube called Urbanist, he just spent what seemed like, it seemed like almost 2 months in various parts of Europe. So I watched a lot of that material. We're getting a little bit weaker on the connection here, but I feel like this right here is the Canal Basin trailhead. Yeah, I do see the sign up there now that says Canal Basin Park. So they had a kickoff event, I believe, right over here. Looks like they have some new water fountains. I'm just curious if that works. I'm not used to seeing like water fountains in a park that look new, so you'd have to imagine they work, right? They look dry right now. Okay. I have water in my backpack, so I don't need to test it right now, but they even have the more, I've never seen that in a park yet, where they have, I mean, I see that in buildings all the time, where it dispenses into a water bottle, so that's pretty nice to see that. Ohio and Erie Canal, 110 miles of endless possibilities. So this is what I was talking about. The Ohio and Erie Canal Trail, this is probably as far north as you're going to get it to extend now, so that this Canal Basin Park is like the completion of the towpath trail, and it goes all the way down. I have ridden it from kind of the Steelyard Commons area, a little bit past that, but I've ridden this stretch of the towpath trail, which is hardly anything. You can see that's like 1.5 miles at best. So imagine if you just kept riding it all the way down, going to the Cuyahoga Valley National Park, then down to Akron, and if you keep on going, you get into Massillon, Stark County, and then it ends at Tuscarawas Canal Lands Park in Bolivar. So yeah, that would be quite the undertaking. They even have some nice new other fixtures like the garbage can. I know it may sound silly to point out, but I like noticing this stuff. The garbage can looks different than I would see in other places, like very modern looking. And then 2 bicycle racks. There's a parking lot here, but I'm not sure what the parking lot is for. Oh, there's even more bicycle racks over here, and a couple of benches. One thing to be aware of though, I did see, and I didn't show it on camera, there was a homeless camp over there with a big tent, and then right now I can see over here there's a tent, and then right above us, sorry, I'm flashing the camera quickly, that's the Red Line train going by us. So if you're ever going on the Red Line train to exit Tower City, it's going over this area right here. But underneath this bridge they also have several benches. And this little trailhead extension is supposed to loop around, and let me try to show. It's going to go up that way, curl, go up there, and then from there you can take that bridge right there to continue on to the rest of the trail. So I've ridden the towpath trail from like the Tremont area, taken this bridge before, but when I've gotten to that point there, instead of going, you know, down this and looping underneath the tunnel, I've just gone straight that way, which is, I mean, it's probably a little shorter to do that, but it's not, you know, a bike trail. You're going through a bumpy sidewalk, and then you would just go up that Superior Hill that I went down in order to get to downtown Cleveland. So yeah, very nice construction. Someone seems to have forgotten their backpack on the bench over there. Unless they're going for a jog and just they're very, very trusting that no one's going to steal their stuff. But yeah, like I said, I just have gone straight that way in the past. But if I was doing a recreational bike thing and not trying to get to downtown Cleveland as fast as possible, yeah, this would be the much nicer path to take, to loop around there. Very scenic. And then over here is where you would get to the old Sherwin-Williams building. I don't know if all vehicles go there to get there, or if it's just delivery vehicles. I think it's, I don't know. All I know is that the public cannot get through there. I mean, you can take the walkway to a certain point, but you can't get beyond the gates then. But once Sherwin-Williams moves into their new digs, I feel like the area under here could be another nice development for someone new to take over. I wonder if a lot of these places are open still. Like we've got Collision Bend Cafe. I don't see hours on the front. And I feel like the door is kind of boarded up to a degree. Way back in the day, you know, my parents would have driven through here with me, so I'm familiar in that sense with like where the gas station is. But other than that, I can't speak much on the history of this particular area. I see a sign there that says pizza, but obviously a deserted location. There's parking lot here. It says monthly $50, special events as posted. But I wonder if this lot gets utilized heavily for Browns or Guardians games. Edwin says, are you familiar with plans to develop the riverfront? Before I mention that, I see the Flatiron is down that way, and then there's some road closed signs further on down. I think if I kept going, that would take you to like the west bank of the flats, like Shooters and other places. But we are going to go down Columbus right now and hopefully check out the Foundry and Merwin's Wharf. But yeah, regarding the riverfront, well, hold on. So let me think about that. At first, when you said that, I was thinking lakefront. But now you're saying riverfront. I know I've read about the area that's kind of like along West 25th, but going down the hill toward the river, and how they're trying to transform that into a park. Like, I'm familiar with that they're doing something with that and making progress on it, but I have not. That's one of the things I want to brush up on and kind of look at the blueprints of it and see exactly what it entails. I thought you were, at first I thought you were thinking of the, or mentioning the lakefront plans, which I was going to laugh and say, yeah, I've seen plenty of lakefront plans over the years with very sophisticated, what do you call them, artist renderings of what the lakefront could look like in Cleveland. You feel like you get a new rendering and such every 1 or 2 years, including, I think last week, Mayor Bibb and the city, I don't know if they put out another call for proposals about wanting to develop the lakefront. And I joked with someone on Twitter that like 40 years from now I'll be doing a Poco Traveler video saying like, oh, we finally are showing off the new lakefront. It finally happened. I can kind of see a mural on the back side of that building past the railroad here, along either French or Leonard Street. Oh, speaking of murals, this one kind of snuck up on me. Oh, would you look at that? I never knew that was there too. You've got a mural that includes, oh, it really goes further down. So Seatown Fitness, you've got some fitness port like silhouettes, like weightlifting or maybe jumping, other acrobatics. Then you've got the Guardians statue, a rope climber alongside Key Tower, and then Terminal Tower. The Free Stamp has made the mural, and then the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame with a guitar in Seatown, and then all the Cleveland sports logos. Cavaliers still have the Chief Wahoo and the Tribe, and then the Browns dog, and I believe Lake Erie Monsters. So, pretty cool hidden gem. One of these days I want to make, well, one of my aspirations for Poco Traveler, I mean, I love doing live walks, but I want to do features as well sometimes, where maybe I do like a list of 10 hidden gems or something, or 5 places to eat, or 3 cool things in whatever city, where maybe they're shorter form videos, like a 5 to 10 minute video, and I just highlight a few talking points. So that's why I always like to build a bank in my head of cool spots that I wasn't aware of, that I could only discover through just going out and exploring like this. Cleveland Center Gravity Place. You are here. Summer solstice, equinox, and winter solstice. All right. Some may think this is ill-advised when you see how deserted it is, and I'm just walking by myself over here. Right. So if anything happens to me, I got 8 viewers watching. That mural actually extends over to that side, but I wanted to see what was on the back over here. Alright, so that one, it's cool looking, but it's more a little bit of graffiti art, I guess. So I won't venture too far down. Yeah, that's a pretty sharp mural on that side of the building as well. Looks like it's at Fade Resistance Artist. Although I see a different, I see at Fade Resistance Artist down there, and over there, I think it's at the Sign Guy 1972. So hopefully I got those usernames right if you want to check those people out on whatever social media platform they may be on, whether that's Twitter or Instagram. I feel like most artists choose Instagram first, and then some have an Instagram and Twitter. And then TikTok, I feel like that's just more for video, even though that's the most popular one these days. So we kind of had a lull during our walk of like businesses in this part of the area that were either shipping areas or restaurants or whatever other storefronts were out of business. But on this end, you start seeing a little bit more activity. We'll cross back over. Remember, we are on Columbus Street here. So if you're ever trying to figure out where is the Cleveland sign that has like seems low to the ground and right up against the river, it is alongside the Foundry, which is a big athletic gym, I think. But if you go through the parking lot at the Foundry, and by the way, before you get to the Cleveland sign, you can see a giant mural on the side here, paddling a boat. But here is the Cleveland sign by the Foundry. Although it's, I don't know why, I see cones up and then I see it roped off. Why is that? You know what? I think they just redid the cement. In fact, it looks... God, you can smell it too. Yeah, I was thinking at first, like, oh, maybe I can step underneath there and, like, film, but... Yeah, that smell is very strong, whether it's the cement or the coating or other stuff. So it looks like they just redid that area and are still waiting for it to dry. Although it doesn't, I don't know, it's weird. It's not like a cement, it's almost like a cement. Maybe it's just made to look like, you know, grooved. Yeah, so I can't get a straight on shot, but there is the Cleveland sign with the Foundry. Normally you'd be able to see, you could still see it, but see the Cleveland sign centered with the downtown Cleveland skyline. And one of the things I find being funny is that since so many people take pictures of the Cleveland sign, within the past year or two, Brewdog right there appears like right above the Cleveland sign and in big letters in any picture people take. So as far as advertising goes, it's like one of the brilliant, I don't know, I assume it was unintentional, but who knows, maybe it was intentional. But you've got like the biggest advertisement possible for the Brewdog restaurant, which is over there. And the couple of times that I've ridden past Brewdog, it is jam-packed. Seems like a very popular place along the river, but it's not too far away from here. You just have to, like, if I would have gone over that blue bridge earlier that I was pointing out that I've ridden my bike down, it's just to the right after you go past that bridge. And then for our last order of business, we are going to explore the Merwin's Wharf area. Believe it or not, I have never walked by it. I see it like every day well, not every day, but whenever I take the rapid train station, I see it down the way. I've never gone by it myself. Also interesting to know that I see a sign here for Ohio City Bicycle Co-op. If that's the place I'm thinking of, I've seen them advertise their services in the past. I knew they were down in the flats somewhere, but I wasn't quite sure where. But yeah, as far as other restaurants go, Brick and Barrel Brewery right here. I assume they're still in business because the outside looks like it's in great shape. Yeah, they just open at 4 p.m. So 4 p.m. to 10 p.m. Monday through Thursday, and then Friday till 11 p.m. Saturday noon to 11, Sunday noon to 8. And then over here we've got Sonato's at Rivergate. Lunch buffet, pizza, pasta, soup, and salad. All you can eat, $10.99 from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Every day from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. That sounds like an interesting place to try. I'll have to try that out once. So here is Rivergate Park, and we are going to make a right turn here. I love the Metro Park sign. And at Rivergate Park. They have various little statues and monuments. Back there, there's an RTA sign. That must be for the red line. I know, the red line goes up on that bridge, but I assume that's some type of control station down there. So if we go down Merwin Street, I don't know if it's street or avenue, but if you go down Merwin, there's the entrance to Ohio City Bicycle Co-op that we were pointing out earlier. And then there's the sign for Merwin's Wharf. as well as signs for the bicycle co-op, overflow parking, stamp products, shipping and receiving, Tracer Specialties, shipping and receiving. And I see the Ohio City Bicycle Co-op is actually back there in that building there. So pretty big entrance. I didn't know they did such a thing. Look at that. They're hauling the construction vehicles across the river. Yeah, this is supposedly a great place for dining and being out by the waterfront at almost all times of the year. That should be West 25th Street up there. I could be wrong, but if I'm not mistaken, I feel like at some point they wanted to develop that whole area into a park, but I could be completely way off base on that. You can see much more of the action at Merwin's Wharf is down at this end. There's also some boat docks over here. I know at some points of the year, I don't know when, they do like free boat launches where you can go on the river and take a little boat ride. This is part of the Cleveland Metro Parks. I'm pretty sure all of it is. So you're always going to see nice maintenance in this area. Yeah, you can see even like the trash can here, Cleveland Metro Parks. Not sure what this silo is on the right, but my first instinct was to wonder if it's a salt, like housing salt for salt trucks. Because anytime I see a silo in that shape, that seems to be what it contains. Yeah, I wasn't really sure how far this path would go or where it would lead to. I mean, over here on the right, you've got the Cleveland Rowing Foundation, but there's nowhere else for me to walk here If I go through that way, I don't know, there's cones up. I guess I'd essentially be walking across the parking lot. And you know what? Maybe I just stumbled into something else where I wondered where it was. I'm not referring to the rowing foundation. That's a nice banner. Maybe a bit faded over the years of being in the sun. There's another shot of the red line going by. But yes, here is the Flats Platform Tennis Center. I knew they made this a couple of years ago, and it was in the flats somewhere, but I had never again seen them in person. Learn about this great year-round sport and membership at flatspaddle.org. So it's not something that's open to, like, you can't just walk onto the court and start playing. Hours of operation daily, 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. So it sounds like if you're a member, you get to punch in a key code and then start playing. I had to hold my camera up so I couldn't really see the view. But it looks like there are 4 tennis courts total. I wonder how often they get utilized and rented out. Like right now it's a beautiful day, but it's of course during the work day, so I would be thinking more of evening time, that you would see people using them during the week. And then just over here is Crooked River Skate Park. There may not be much activity up there right now, but during, again, probably closer to the evening, because oftentimes when I'm coming on the rapid and I'm looking downward, you can see people in this skate park over here. Skate park hours are from 6 a.m. to 10:30 p.m. Look at all the various pairs of shoes strung up on the lines. Yeah. I'm a biking enthusiast, but I've never tried anything close to any form of tricks. I'm too chicken for that. I won't even go fast over a little curb. And when I say little, I mean like even if it's this tall, I'll like slow down and stop and then wheel my tire over it and then keep going. Otherwise I just, in my mind, I see myself flipping over my handlebars. And I guess last but not least, like I was mentioning earlier, the Ohio City Bicycle Co-op. So if you're ever downtown and your bike gets a flat, check out if their hours are open. So that does it for today's video. If you enjoyed what you saw, please hit the like button. If you aren't subscribed already, I would always appreciate you subscribing to the Poco Traveler channel so that you get alerts when we do our videos. Like I said, I plan on doing a live stream tomorrow, probably around 11 a.m. Eastern Time, or maybe 11:30 a.m. Eastern Time, to capture the vibe near Progressive Field when the playoff game is about to start. And feel free to always leave a comment down below. And thanks again for tuning in, and we will see you next time.